Nintendo is one of the biggest video game companies in the world, if not the biggest. And their launch title for their newest console, the Switch 2, was Mario Kart World. And this was a highly anticipated game. Everyone was looking for it. Even I don't have a Switch 2, but I want to play Mario Kart World because I'm a Mario Kart fan. But what was really interesting is that Nintendo doesn't have the best history in terms of listening to their customers. And so I wanted to kind of go over the big mistake they made with this new game, Mario Kart World, and what we can learn from it as a business owner. So basically, Mario Kart World is a driving game, a racing game where you can compete against other people. And online, especially, that's where a lot of the fun comes in, is the multiplayer experience, being able to race against other people online. Now, the angle that Mario Kart World takes compared to the other previous Mario Kart games is that Mario Kart World is an open world concept, meaning that all the courses are sort of interconnected, and you can kind of go from one course and drive to another course via these different routes or different highways. The problem is a lot of these highways or intermissions, these routes, are kind of boring. And so a lot of people, especially playing online, they don't really want to play these intermission tracks. They want to play the full 3-lap original tracks because that's where all the action is. But the problem is Nintendo, because they put so much work into this open world concept with all of these different routes and intermissions connecting the different tracks together, they sort of took offense to that. And they sort of made an update where beforehand, you could choose a random feature on the online lobbies, and that would essentially guarantee you a 3-lap track that you could all race on. However, this update made it so that when you clicked on random, it became a lot more rare that you would get a 3-lap track, and most of the times you would get one of these intermission tracks, basically starting from one track and then driving all the way to the other track. And when you get to that other track, you only do 1 lap of that instead of the full 3 laps. So understandably, the Mario Kart community was quite bummed by this, and it's not the most customer-friendly move, to say the least, from Nintendo. So what can we learn from it as business owners ourselves? Well, the biggest takeaway that I can come up with here is that simply listening to your audience will almost guarantee you a better result for the life shelf of your product or your service, right? Because at the end of the day, as customers of certain products or services, we want a certain need fulfilled, whether that's for pleasure or it's a necessity, an essential, it doesn't really matter. We all want that sense of happiness and fulfillment because we think a service or product actually did something for us, right? So in the context of video games, you play it because you want that dopamine hit. You want to have fun with other people or even just by yourself, and you want to play the game the way you want to play it, right? But in this case, Nintendo sort of did the opposite, sort of forcing its players to play the way Nintendo wants you to play. And that doesn't really make it more fun for you. In fact, it does the opposite. It sort of drives their customers away. So for us business owners, I think the best thing we can do as business owners is to take feedback with consideration, for sure. Not every piece of feedback is going to be valuable. A lot of people just hate just to hate, right? But a lot of constructive feedback is very useful, especially if you have customers who already like you and your brand. They just want a better experience with your product or service. So in my case, there are times when I put out courses, especially my first couple of courses, I was still kind of learning what my audience wanted. And over time, they would share with me, oh, Chris, it would be great if you included a video on how to do this, or I didn't feel like this was covered enough in this certain module of this course. So that gives me a lot of information on not to how to improve the course, not only for that person, but also future students who enroll in that program, because that material will probably help these new people as well. So I personally, I always try to take customer critique or, constructive criticism on board. And while I might not apply every single thing that people suggest, the things that I think do make a great point and that would actually benefit the program, the course, the service even more, I'm more than happy to implement that. Because for me, the most important thing is customer satisfaction and getting my customers actual results. Because if you get people results, then that's where you get the social proof. You get that positive feedback, the testimonials, and that is the best sales copy you could ever ask for, those testimonials, right? So all that to say, being flexible and listening to your audience, I think, is the biggest takeaway that we can draw from this Nintendo scandal, if you will. Instead of pushing against your customers who are asking for something, try to embrace what they're asking for and incorporate elements of what they're asking for into the game, if not all of it. Of course, you worked on something for so long, a course or a service, so you're really protective of it, right? You're defensive of it. It's like your baby. But at a certain point, you have to know that what you put out there isn't going to be perfect, even though we might think it is. But you simply cannot please everyone. And the more customers you have, the more differing opinions you have, the more perspectives you have, when they actually give you real criticism that can actually help your product or service, I think we should be very open to taking those things on board. And when I've done that, every single time the product has improved. People, customers, they seem to enjoy it more and more, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful to have these people who they don't just want that result, but they actually care about you putting out the best result for them so that they can get that result even better, right? That's really, really important. That sort of back and forth between the creator and the consumer. So I hope that kind of makes sense. If you haven't really considered this sort of philosophy or this sort of mindset with your business, I hope this gave you an idea. I hope it opened up maybe a couple of mental shifts for you, that it's not all just about us and our business. It's also about the customer as well, and making sure that they are the priority. Giving them the transformation that they really want. That's the number one thing. And then the rest of it just goes from there. Like, then the success will just pour in, because people can sense that you really want to help them. You're not just doing it for the sake of making money. So I hope that kind of makes sense. If you want to go deeper with your business, if you want coaching from me personally, I do have a link down below where you can book a call with me, and we can really dive into the nitty gritty of your business and how I can help there. Otherwise, if you're a Kajabi user, the platform that I've been using for years to build my business and really scale it up and earn back my time, then I want to give you an extended 30-day free trial to use their platform. I've done a whole bunch of content on this channel covering the ins and outs of Kajabi, but they usually give you a 14-day free trial on their website. So if you use my affiliate link down below, you'll get more than double. You'll get that full 30 days. Plus, I'll give you 2 bonus mini courses, Kajabi in 30 days, and you'll get that immediately once you sign up for your free trial. And the other one is content marketing for creatives, which goes over the exact business model I'm using to put out content into the world and then monetize it on the back end to really, again, scale my business, earn back my time, and just really do work that I love, and I think it's really, really important. And you'll receive that second mini course after you become a paying member of Kajabi. Just forward me your first month's receipt of payment, and I will grant you manual access to that. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and see you very soon. Take care.